college volleyball on ESPN Plus. It's the dawn of a new era for the Florida Gulf Coast volleyball team after picking up their first win under new head coach Thais Boziqueto-Allen last night. It's a quick turnaround for the Eagles. Good morning and welcome into Alico Arena for the rematch between FGCU and JMU. She's Liz Tortorella Nelson, I'm Kelly Burke, and Liz, 14 hours ago these two teams were duking it out with the Eagles prevailing in 4 sets. Today we're going to see some shuffling specifically to the JMU line.
Well, JMU played a great match offensively last night. They really were able to run their middles and their right sides efficiently, but defensively they really struggled to get touches at the net in order to convert.
JMU is going to really turn to their senior captain and setter Grace Winrich today for consistency.
Well, Grace is that senior leader. She's really high energy. She knows how to run that offense. It's going to be up to her to really decide how that defensive showing is going to turn out for James Madison.
And FGCU had 3 players with double-figure kills last night, led in the middle by Abby Tennisgetter and her 10 kills.
Well, Abby, she's quite dynamic. She was hitting a lot of those 31s we weren't seeing on the previous match. She added those 10 kills, but 4 blocks, and that's something she brought to the table with her from FSW.
And let's take a look at today's starting lineups presented by NCH. We mentioned some shuffling to James Madison's lineup. What are the biggest changes?
Well, right now you see Belize Bradley. She has not seen the court yet, so it's going to be up to her to really decide what she's going to do defensively if she wants to stay in this game tonight for the Dukes.
And for FGCU, pretty much the same starters as yesterday. If you're having success with it, why change it?
Absolutely, and they hit way over 300 as a team. That's pretty impressive, and they were just running on all cylinders, especially from the serving line.
Service line will certainly be a key today. That was something that Coach Lauren Steinbrecher really emphasized for JMU. We got to serve FGCU out of system, make it tougher on this offense.
Yes, I mean, defensively, JMU, we're going to see some nice touches at the net. They're able to convert and then execute. And FGCU, the Eagles, they want to win that serve and pass game.
Eagles with 5 service aces in the first meeting last night to JMU's 0. So certainly something to watch in this one. Both teams utilize a 6-2 offense, which means that you've got 2 setters that rotate in and out. An early start for both of these teams. It was a quick turnaround. Less than 14 hours ago, these two teams were squaring off.
It was a quick turnaround for you and I.
Yeah,
as well.
it was. I had to really wake myself up this morning, splash some extra cold water on my face.
Okay, let's play some volleyball again.
And we are underway at Alico Arena. Right to Soto down the line, but just misses wide.
Eagles like to start in this rotation 1 with Hannah Boer starting the setting position out of the right back, and Soto, which is traditionally an opposite, will hit a few of these balls from the left side pit.
Line-to-line serve from JMU leads to the overpass. Tipped over by Barnes. Soto cross court into the middle back, and that'll score for the Eagles.
Yeah, Soto really gets on that ball. Nice fast arm. She doesn't give time for the block to set up, and that's why the Eagles want to run this really fast offense on the pins.
Barbara Kohler at the service line for FGCU. That sails long on the service error. Coming in for JMU, Anna Wilson, the transfer from South Carolina, 5th-year senior.
Yeah, and she had a couple starts the other night against Missouri, and I know the coach wasn't too pleased with her performance, nor was she, so she's getting another shot at it.
Tipped over by Lewisell. Soto off the fingertips. And nice effort there trying to run it down by Sydney Lewis, but it'll score for the Eagles.
Yeah, and that's a good touch. That's kind of what they want to start off with. Those touches will turn into blocks later on in the match.
So all even at 2-all. Reese Burry serving for FGCU. into middle back. JMU's Addie Norman with the kill.
Yeah, volleyball can be pretty simple when you pass the ball, right?
Right?
That
Yeah.
was a nice 3-point pass there, delivering to the setter. No problem. The block really can't decide where it wants to go, so there was a nice clean hit by the Dukes.
Rebecca Watkins in now to set for the Dukes. Over to Soto down the line. And Soto off to a nice start for FGCU.
And they want to get her the ball. Apparently, she's had a few attempts and a lot of success right now.
I like the approach though, because JMU likely thinking that Barbara Kohler's going to get this ball a lot.
I think that's one of the philosophies that Coach Thais brought with her, is that she really does not want to be one person dominant. She really wants to spread the offense out and create a bunch of stars on this team.
Bekiskova from the service line. Big swing from the lefty, Melissa Iltar.
Nice production on the right side pin for the Dukes. They're going to put some pressure on those left side blockers of the Eagles, and traditionally left side blockers are not your strongest.
And how much of a different look at it is it as a blocker when you're facing a lefty on the right side?
Right, and it helps if you have somebody to practice against. So if the Eagles have a bunch of lefties, they can practice blocking against. That's helpful. You might see this turn into more touches towards the end of the match.
All knotted at 4. Near overpass, and it is one. Little rolled over from the back row. JMU resets. To the middle, Tennis Ketter. Tumazadas blocked. And a point for FGCU. That block was big for the Eagles yesterday.
Yeah, Escorza is right there, ready and waiting. A lot of discipline out of her right now. Just not moving a lot. She's got her feet planted and she's able to press over.
For Bisic Chabo from the service line. Iltar cross court, dugout. Escorza denied. And Dukes coming away with the points and knotted at 5.
I like how the Dukes are going against the grain. So Rebecca Watkins got the nod today to start, and she does a nice job when the ball is pushed up past maybe towards the 4th or 5th zone. She's going behind her head and setting the right side pin.
On the overpass, and a mistake there by JMU's defense. That was an opportunity.
It was an opportunity, and we're going to see that, unfortunately, with a new player in there, somebody that hasn't seen the court, and she just needs to get her feet under her right now and just start moving a little bit more, and she'll get used to it.
Dennis Ketter serving for the Eagles. Line to line, right at Kennedy Louiselle. Tumazados with the swing, but too high.
Yeah, you got to keep testing that block, and she's trying to go for those high hands. The only problem is she's really reaching underneath her. She still has to keep the ball in front of her.
Eagles definitely going after Kennedy Louiselle, targeting her on the ace this time, and it's a 3-point lead for the Eagles.
Yeah, and that's a great serve too, because it's not in her lap. They're forcing her to go to her left side or her right side, forcing her to make that move.
Dennis Ketter had some service runs last night at the line. Out of system ball, pushed over by Tumazados and able to score for the side out.
That was a great play. Really changed up the motion of her arm, went fast to slow. It's a hard ball to defend.
Into this match, Addie Norman and Grace Winwick, the senior captain setter, now will serve it up. Short serve, overpass, JMU. Opportunity denied. Back to Tumazados, tips this time, great up. He scores a tips back. Big swing from Kohler. Barnes denied, but off the fingertips. That'll score for JMU.
Yeah, great scrappy play by the Dukes. They're able to play a lot of balls in front of that 10-foot line. Anna's working really hard as a left side pin to transition. She got a lot of attempts in that in that last rally.
And I should say that was actually Addie Norman. There was an Addie Barnes that I used to call a couple years ago.
Well, that's going to happen,
that
right?
They look similar. Kohler down the line. Chumazados off the fingertips. Back to East Scorza. Line shot. JMU resets. Chumazados throws it over. Still playing. Kohler tooling. Dumped over, and Grace Winrick with a sneaky move for JMU.
Yeah, and that's a fight, right? And those are the changes that Coach talked to us about, being able to defend. That was a great touch at the net by Bradley, which in turn created that opportunity for Grace.
All even at 8-all. Kohler shoves it over, right off the fingertips. Does a nice job mixing it for shots.
She's just really strong. And that's gonna, that's gonna carry her, and it has carried her to this point. She's able to get a lot of kills. Even if she doesn't swing, she's still tipping really strong and deliberate.
Kohler, the former junior college national player of the year at Florida Southwestern. Norman just a misfire there.
We have a lot of former player of the years
We
here,
do.
don't we?
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track.
3 of them on FGCU's roster alone.
It goes to show, they know how to win.
Yes. Something to be said about that winning mindset. Overpass, and the freshman trying to put it down. Kohler with a rocky cross court, and that'll score for the Eagles.
Yeah, and then just playing great defense really opens up the area for those pin hitters. Then they have more to work with. When there's that seam, they have a lot of options.
Nice reversing the flow there. Down the line. Chumazados denied. And a nice block coming up big again for FGCU.
Yeah, Muhuzi has done a nice job. She came in and really excelled offensively and defensively. I believe she didn't have any errors last night too when she was hitting.
It's pretty incredible because she's only been over here with FGCU practicing for personality. So we're seeing that come out at times.
Oh, it's so great to get that W off the back, right? And just be able to move on from that.
Good awareness there by the freshman Muhizi. And nice one-on-one block, but gonna punch it through Elise Bradley.
And she read it well. She was in the right spot. It's just a matter of really pressing and holding those hands really tight over the net. You don't have to go up really high as a blocker.
Short serve, tough. Nice swing from Norman. And off the block, but ends up hitting the libero, Anna Marzella, Reese Burry on the way out.
Yeah, Reese was there and she was ready. I'm not quite sure if that ball was out of bounds or not, and that's where communication comes into hand. As a hitter, you need to be screaming that. Players on the court need to be telling their defensive players whether it's in or out.
4-point deficit for JMU. Big swing from Camila Soto. Soto off to a nice start in this match.
Yeah, nice pass. Setter is able to make a lot of good choices up there. Holds the middle, so there's a nice split.
Lewisell denied at the net. Nice roof by Mukizi and Soto teaming up.
Yeah, good serving too. Out of system balls have been a struggle for this.
6-1 scoring run for the Eagles. Barbara Kohler at the service line. Will try and continue it. Over to Lewisell and a quick side out going to your go-to player.
Nice out of the timeout, right? Being able to deliver a nice fast tempo to your rock star outside hitter. That's the set that she needs.
Lewisell coming off a 22 kill performance last night. McNeely from the service line. Norman. Soto cross court. Back to Lewisell, down the line tips. Kennedy Louiselle coming up big with some crucial points here for JMU.
Yeah, she did a nice job. Really saw Soto up there dangling that right hand, and she tooled it. That's only her second kill so
She just
far.
hasn't quite had as many attempts today either.
Well, which is good. I mean, you want to see more people involved. Kennedy's going to have she's going to have those takeover moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a big point of emphasis we visited with Coach Lauren Steinbrecher before the match, and she said we want to get more people involved today. Easy denied at the net, and nice stuff there from Anna Wilson in the middle.
Yeah, Anna Wilson does a nice job of really using those eyes for that blocking sequence. She's just able to really adjust her footwork to get to the ball. She's got that experience coming from South Carolina. She's already been trained. She jumps into this program with a lot of knowledge.
And South Carolina, traditionally a very good blocking program, so brings that blocking prowess with her. That was certainly an area that Coach Steinbrecher wanted to be better today. To the middle, Wilson tips over. Misfire from Soto. Punched through by Chabo.
You got a big block up over there, and Chabo only hits a couple inches off the tape. So I think they'll be able to adjust. They're just blocking up, straight up, instead of over on their first contact.
And a lot of cleanup going on out here on the court.
There is.
We are in Florida after all, so
Yes,
there's a lot
right.
of perspiration.
That's right. I wasn't going to say it, but it's already getting hot in here.
August and September, traditionally the hottest months of the year here. While the rest of the country is starting to experience fall, we are
That's
still
right.
very much
We're
in our summer clothes.
mode.
Tough serve, another ace for FGCU.
And the Dukes basically have a couple liberos back there. McNeely's got the change of the jersey this morning with Lewis next to her as the DS.
McNeely considered the best server on this team too. So just one of the captains along with Grace Winrick, trying to steady the defense of this Duke squad.
Yeah, and FGCU is doing a nice job from that serving line, putting the pressure on.
Another top serve, tipped over by Wilson. Joust at the net. Chabo. Norman over the block. And just perfectly places that.
A lot of tipping in that sequence.
Iltar coming in, as well as Rebecca Watkins.
Yeah, the sets are a little too tight right now, so the players need to work hard on driving and really putting on the brakes with those feet, getting straight up so they can still see the block and tool it.
Watkins awaiting the signal. Right over to the middle, Tennis Getter punches it through on the side out.
Yeah, those 31s are working for her. I love that crossbody shot. That's a hard angle to be in front of. As a middle blocker, you want to make sure you scout that early so you take a step over to the right side and really shut that down.
Tennis Getter led all of junior college ranks last year, not only in hitting percentage, but blocks. It's been a very nice addition so far to this FGCU squad. Kiskova serving off the top of the tape. Louiselle cross court. Bick from Kohler. Joust at the net. Back to Louiselle and into the antenna on the error.
Yeah, that ball is just floating a little wide. I think Watkins has got to work hard and giving Lewis Howell that set that she really wants.
GCU first at 20 points. Kiskova again from the service line. Lewis Howell off the fingertips that time. That set moved a lot more inward.
Yeah, nice adjustment, right? That set was really inside. Most of the time you see Lewis Howell, taking care of it and passing up the block. That time she just bolted right through.
Lewis Howell now into the back row. To Kennisketter. And off the mark. A little bit wide, right?
I always say those two, when that happens, it's fine because you're still establishing middle. You're making somebody like Anna Wilson respect that and stay in there.
And a service error right back from JMU.
And really, that's all JMU has. They want to serve as aggressive as they can.
Coach Lauren Steinbrecher wasn't particularly happy with the serving yesterday. To the middle, Wilson, and that'll get down. Nice spot, too.
That's a nice set for somebody like Anna Wilson. She's got those long arms. As a setter, you want to make sure that middle is reaching as high as she can and take advantage of that.
Perfectly placed to the right back area.
Yeah, you see Chavo, she's really shallow. FGCU likes to play those middle backs up and force the hitters on the other team to hit around the edges.
And for the first time today, we see Katie Gillis into this game or match, I should say, for FGCU.
Back row attack called from Ellie. That's really all you can do as a setter. You want to go up strong and still try to set that ball.
Yeah.
So maybe force the official to think twice about it.
And when you say back row attack, it's because she crossed the plane of the net, and being in a 6-2, you're...
Right, and she cannot jump and hit the ball over the net because she's back row.
So a 5-point game here in the first set. Abby Tennisketter will serve it up for the Eagles. Right at Louisville. To Mazados off the block. And the block coming up big again. This time it's Esforza and Mugizi teaming up.
Now I'd like to see that in tandem. If you even watch it slow motion, see a nice job of those two working well together.
The players are spending more time on the court wiping off sweat this morning than the entire first two matches.
Yeah, we need to crank that AC, don't we?
23-17, FGCU trying to pick up the first set win. Took down JMU in 4 sets last night. Tennisketter with 10 kills in that win. Over to Iltar down the line, and that is going to be long.
Yeah, just hit the antenna. Let that ball cross over a little too much. Nice job of going against the grain, and that's, as a setter, that's what you want to do. It forces that middle blocker to go around it.
Right, that's a great look. It did hit the antenna. Back to Iltar. Cross court. And Muhizi. Gonna end set number 1 for FGCU.
Let's get this party started.
And it doesn't get any easier for the Eagles either because they head to Arizona State next weekend. Nice shot there by JMU.
That was a great play because the Eagles like to play their defense so shallow They're really forcing the Dukes to play the ball behind them. Smart.
Great adjustment by JMU. McNeely back at the service line. She's in the libero jersey today. Back row attack from Chabo. Down the line, but long by Louiselle. All knotted at one.
Yeah, defensively, that was a great play by McNeely. Just wasn't able to get it done on that side. FGCU shows a lot of patience, too, defensively. Just for their third match of the season. That's going to carry them a long way.
Chandler Swanson into this match for the first time today. She's a local from Fort Myers, Florida. Started a career at Boston College. To the middle, nice touch by Anna Wilson, and she's off to a strong start in this match.
Yeah, she is. She's taking some swings, even though there's not a lot of heat on that ball. She's hitting high and deep. Really tough to defend.
Rebecca Watkins now at the service line for JMU. Soto off the fingertips. Louiselle down the line. Chabo denied. Back to Grubisic. Chabo down the line, and that's a winner.
It was a good swing by Chabo, working really hard on transition. You'll see her really do a good job of getting back behind that 10-foot line, working extremely hard. That's one thing I really like about her as a player. She puts the same effort in no matter what.
Tipped and snuffed out by the Eagles. Louiselle stopped. And the Eagles block coming up big.
Yeah, the Dukes have a hard time on the slow developing plays where their hitters need to find a way, even though it's out of system. Everyone in the gym knows where that ball is going, high into the pin. But you see there, Louiselle's only taken a two-step approach.
Back to the middle, Wilson. And a nice job by Chandler Swanson.
Is that her first kill?
Yes.
Swanson's first
Yes.
kill?
And they celebrated like it.
Hey, that's what you want to do. Coming off the bench at a positive point. She won't forget that.
No, she will not, especially being a defensive player. Reese Burry serving for the Eagles. Another big block from the Eagles, and this time it's Chabo teaming up with Tennisketter.
That's a big area of improvement from when they played Missouri. No touches, no blocks at the net against Missouri, and here they are really capitalizing at the net.
5-2 FGCU, tough serve. Louiselle rolls it over, perfectly placed shot on the donut in the floor.
That's smart. She's listening to her teammates. She's listening to her coaching staff, telling her what's open. With somebody that gets that many attempts, you have to listen because you know you're going to get swing after swing. You can't keep putting the same ball in the same spot every time.
MB Louiselle will rotate into the back row. JMU back within two. Going right at Marzella. Soto! So Chabo cross court, and Grabici's Chabo with the winner.
Yeah, nice job by Borer getting that ball all the way out to the pin. Chabo is able to reach as high as she can. It's almost as an outside hitter, you have two reaches. You have your first reach, which is in your comfort zone. Your second reach is even higher. It's when you stretch to reach something off that shelf, and she does a nice job of getting that high snap in. You got that, Kelly?
I
So
do.
you gotta
I
work
mean,
on
I'm
that.
taking notes. Like my 10-year-old niece has just started playing volleyball, so I'm trying to give her all the great instruction I can. And what better instruction than from a former high-level college coach? Service error from the Eagles.
Sports is not supposed to be comfortable.
No.
Anything-
I'm just excited my niece is playing volleyball. Like I consider that a win.
It is a win, and it's a great sport to be in.
It is. Service error right back, Anna Wilson. Julia Grabicic-Chavo now into the back row. 14 kills yesterday against James Madison. And on the overpass, it's Tennis Getter putting it down.
Yeah, great fast point opportunity. She was able to get that done because of that serve put in by Chavo.
Barely had to even jump to.
No, she didn't.
Got those long arms.
And she's missed a couple of those opportunities at the net.
Bowler trapped at the net. Hit by Escorza. Tennis Getter says, let me take care of it.
Nice job being physical at the net. But I've got my eye on Kohler here. She does a good job of just redirecting this ball. She sets it right into the block, plays it back to herself, and is able to give her team another opportunity. That is a great play by a veteran player.
It's a 5-point lead for FGC,
and then advancing. And in fact, really impressive. At one point in her career, her team was able to earn an at-large bid, which is pretty unbelievable in the conference that they're in. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish it did. I wish we could have that conversation about more mid-major schools having multiple teams make the tournament.
We had a really nice conversation with her this morning, just catching up. 4-point lead for FGCU. To the middle, Neal, run down by Chavo. It'll be a free ball for JMU. Neal again getting involved. And down the line, Escorza coming through with the line shot.
Yeah, Escorza got a lot of confidence right now coming off last night. She had no errors at all in multiple kills, so she's no stranger to getting those balls put down over there on that right side pin.
Abby Tennis Getter on a Boynton Beach, Florida now at the service line for FGCU. Part of 2 back-to-back junior college national championships at FSW. And a misfire there on that set. Escorza stuffed at the net. This time it's Neal and Norman teaming up.
Of course, I spoke too soon about Escorza. That time they were able to capitalize, really do a good job of getting all 4 hands all over that block.
It's a pretty nice size block too, 6'4", 6'2".
Yes. And you cannot have a ball that is too tight to the net against those 4 hands.
Escorza this time coming through, going through the block.
Yeah, giving her a little space. You can see right there that big block, getting those hands back. They need to make sure their hands are in front and pressed over at point of contact.
I always love that a setter, the confidence they bring when they go right back to the player that missed the shot the point before.
Yeah, that helps, right? Because sometimes you have to wait around to get your next opportunity. You have to flush your mistakes pretty fast in this game, because really that's all it is. It's a game of mistakes.
Anna Borer now into this match. Nice save there by Winrick, but off the mark for Neal.
Even with that high reach, she's still not able to make a play on that ball.
Lead stretched to 6 for the Eagles. Short serve. And a misfire. So back-to-back points for FGCU.
Yeah, it's just a matter of connecting more. You've got some new players on the court. only a couple matches into the season. These are the kinks that the coach talks about, them being able to work out later on. Right now, they're just, getting the feel for it. And you hope that they start to make some of those in-game adjustments.
JMU relying on freshmen pretty heavily. Addie Norman, one of them, at 6'4". Soto down the line. And FGCU stretches their lead to 8 points.
Yeah, tough ball to hit, too. She gave herself space between her and the ball and her and the net. And that's when you're able to make a good swing on the ball.
Pushed over. That was low. Muikizi. Lewisell with a hard knock. And that'll lead to a side out for JMU.
Yeah.
Just clipped it inside that corner.
Yeah, it was a good shot, too, going around the edges. Does a good job of putting a rip on that.
McNeely now from the service line. JMU's best server. Going right at Marzella. Mukizi. And the misfire.
Yeah, the Dukes need to keep McNeely back there on that serving line to create this run opportunity, get a few more points.
And not a great first contact. This time, serving Kohler, free balled over. To the middle. Soto into the block. Kohler, and denied at the net. And they're going to say 4 touches. We'll see if we have a challenge.
Yeah, Marzella as the libero, as a passing serve receive libero, really. She's in there doing a nice job. She got that coverage ball, and they're saying that it kind of ping-ponged off of her and Soto.
No argument from Vazquez Allen. Soto off the outside blocker's hands. Mujizi sets. Lewisell, the no doubter.
Passed up the block. Love it.
And like,
to keep the ball in line, they feel like they know what's going on their side of the court a little bit better.
tough serve, Soto. Little bit long, but she says there's a touch. We're gonna have a challenge from Coach Vazquez Allen.
And we just heard Chavo say to the coach, I heard her yell touch.
Of FGCU, Eagles with 15 points now, changes it to a 5-point.
Chavo thinks that's her point because she's the one that told the
Right?
coach the challenge.
Gotta take some credit.
I think if I played now,
do I get to count that as a kill?
Yes.
Can I add that to my
I
stats?
totally would keep track. If I played right now, I would have that tally going.
Well, I've always said that actually the head coaches, they should keep a running tally of what their record is on challenges, because you have some head coaches that are extremely good.
Well, don't give a lot of credit to the coaches here. Let's talk about the players that are actually calling it.
And
They called
march.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
the
lift. Interesting. Don't see that too often.
No, there's no complaints over there on that side.
Chandler Swanson back in. Lewisell off the fingertips.
Yeah, she was able to put a little bit more heat on that ball to get that ball out of bounds. Hard for Chandler Swanson to go after it.
When you're an attacker, especially on the outside, what is the advantage of when you're tooling and going for high fingertips?
Well, when you're out of system and everyone in the gym knows you're going to get the ball, you have to think in your mind, okay, I'm going to have a tough block in front of me. So what are my options? I can either tip, I can wait and see the block in front, and then just really go flat and hard with your arm to attack those hands.
A service ace for Rebecca Watkins. First of the day for JMU.
That's a great question, too, because they get so many attempts. How are they able to adjust?
This is just a perfectly placed.
And that just dropped,
Yeah.
right?
Whew. And turn, too.
Those are balls as a passer you have to practice on in order to get them. You have to get that first step in. Anticipation is huge in this game. Being able to see what's coming off the server's hand, know that it's coming to you, and be able to identify if that ball is going short or deep.
And for the casual volleyball fan, it's not just about the speed of the serves. You get some float serves that move around like a knuckleball in baseball.
It really depends what kind of gym you're in.
Yeah, airflow.
Which apparently we don't have a lot of airflow.
No,
in this
we
gym
do not,
right now.
based on how much cleanup is going on the court. Louiselle off the fingertips again. Chavo cross court. Soto. Iltar down the line. Back to Grabicic. Chavo throwing it over. Joust at the net. Still playing. Soto. And FGCU prevailing in that long rally on the touch.
The Dukes are working hard over there. There was probably like 4 or 5 great digs going on in that rally, something they changed dramatically from last night. But in the end, it's FGCU that really knows how to put that ball away when it matters. They kind of go the distance really well in those long rallies. And that's a great predictor, too, for a good team. If you win those long rallies consistently, you're going to be just fine.
And FGCU coach Thais Bazaketo-Allen said she was really happy with the resilience and the grit her team showed last night. And that's clearly continued today. It'll be Reese Burry at the service line for the Eagles, who've opened up a 5-point lead here in the second set. And a little bit of a miscommunication there between Anna Wilson and the setter.
Yeah, sometimes the middle gets...
Burry serving. To the middle again, Wilson. Better connection that time. Grabicic Chavo off the block. Soto. And Soto up and ready. Minnesota continues to have a nice outing today for FGCU, leading the Eagles with 8 kills.
She's doing a nice job being physical at the net. I would have her take as many overpasses as possible. I like her better in that position rather than Tennis Getter as a middle.
And a side out for JMU. Dukes picked second this year in the Sun Belt Conference.
They have a big conference too, split into 2 divisions.
East and West.
From all over the place.
Exactly. A lot of newcomers on this team, 8 of them, including 5 freshmen. Grabicic Chavo cross court. Big approach. Back to Tennis Getter, but Anna Wilson was ready, teaming up with Iltar.
Yeah, Tennis Getter did not do a good job. But look at that dig by McNeely. Thank you so much, production crew, for getting that shot in. Chavo thought she had her going deep, but McNeely stopped that right away. And Wilson was able to capitalize.
Made the most Julia McNeely has wearing the Bro jersey today.
Oh, McNeely's doing a great job. Sometimes you don't get enough credit as a libero. She's kind of that quiet leader back there.
Speaking of serving better, that's what JMU has done out of this timeout. Not a great first contact for Anna Marzella, and that leads to the throwdown from Anna Wilson.
Yeah, those are the balls that you love because it really rewards your serving.
And the block has come alive for JMU. Back within 3, that prompts an Eagles timeout.
Yeah, and that's why Wilson's in there.
First ball contact.
Yes. It sounds very simple, right? I don't know. I think if you're the Eagles, I would say get the ball up so your setter can do something with it. And then as a setter, you want to make sure you're bettering that ball. So what you don't want is any zeros on your team. And there were no receiving errors out of the Eagles last night. And that's pretty big.
Yeah.
So that tells me, A, they're passing at a high clip, but also JMU was not putting a lot of pressure on them. So you turn the tide, here we are. They're putting pressure on them now serving, and they have more out-of-system balls.
Going right at Marzella. Soto down the line, and that will lead to a side out for FGCU. Much better sequence there.
Right, good timing, right? So you get the ball up in play, your setter is able to do something with it, it splits the block, and the ball goes down.
And we should mention, too, in this two-libero system for FGCU, Anna Marzella is the libero that is better on reception. Oh, service ace for FGCU, Aliska Vikiskova on the top of the tape.
Yeah, that's a great serve. In practice, a lot of times you're going to serve at that tape. So they'll spend, you know, a good portion of their practice serving hard and flat.
Third service ace of the day for the Eagles. And going to, I believe she was over the 10-meter line.
Yeah, she was. It's, you know, you're back there, you kind of go where the set is going, but you also have to identify where that line is.
Yeah.
And that's what you'll see. Their last step on their spike approach, they turn their foot in so they don't get their toes over that line. And some players do it really well.
So in volleyball, if you're a casual fan, your foot on that back row attack cannot touch any part of that white 10-meter line, or 10-foot line, I should say.
Right. They can after contact.
Yeah.
So just so you know, you'll see a lot of broad jumpers out of the back row, but when you get to the front row, you don't want to broad jump.
Yeah.
You want to make sure your jump is going straight up. And so at a junior level, like your niece, you want to make sure that you teach them correctly the difference. Because you don't want a broad jumper going into the front row.
No, because you would end up in the net.
You will end up in the net and hurting somebody.
Net violation. Be a lot of issues if you're going into the net.
It takes a lot of body control.
Rubicic Chavo now from the service line. FGCU 3 points away from taking this set. Escorza off the block.
Yeah, Lishka going against the grain as a setter, going forward and then setting the back set all the way, forces the middle blocker for the Dukes to run longer to get to that block.
His first ball contact, Iltar down the line, but they're going to say it was touched.
Yeah, over the head of Burry. That's where you want to put all your attacks, along the baseline and the end line.
Yeah.
Especially with a team that's playing shallow defense.
Winwick on the serve, going right at tennis getter. Nice tip. Great job keeping it up by JMU. Back row attack, Rubicic Chavo, and that's going to get down. And we're going to have a challenge right away.
Right away.
So the score will remain the same. So when it's inconclusive, it usually means there's not enough video evidence to make a determination. Set point for FGCU, trying to go up 2-0. Tennis getter, a chance to put the Dukes away. And Addie Norman says not so fast.
Yeah, they were able to get a double quick up there and really fool the block on the Eagle side.
JMU 4 points away from making this a very interesting second set. Trying to climb back in it. And an ace, that'll help the cause. Sydney Lewis, ace number 3 on the day for the Dukes. Over to Gillis, the freshman. Lewisau, and just clips the line. 3 straight points for JMU to climb back into this set.
Yeah, huge from the serving line. Just getting something going for this team, regardless if they win this set or not. This adds some momentum going into the next.
Lewis again on the serve. One right at Chabo. Free ball over. Opportunity here for JMU. Lewisau, and that's going to be touched by Marcella on the way out. JMU back within 1. At what point do we are we going to
take a timeout? I think as a coach, you're putting them in this situation so they figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
This is where your leadership really needs to step up. Talk to your serve receive.
Still set point. 4 straight points though for JMU. And a stuff block at the net. Addie Norman teaming up with the freshman Ian Neal.
Great run by the Dukes here on this serving line, keeping the pressure on with that strong block up front. That's a great recipe.
All knotted at 24. We're going to play at least a couple more points. Tipped over. JMU has made this interesting. Rolled over by Kohler. Still playing. Free ball now for FGCU. Couldn't take advantage. Lewisau, and off the fingers of Marcella. JMU now a chance to take set number 2 here.
Well, right now, you got the Eagles struggling, and they're just trying to not make any mistakes. And when that happens, they tend to make those mistakes.
And we're challenging a net violation. So the call's going to be confirmed. It'll, again, be a point, James Madison. So set point for JMU now. What a reversal here in these last 6 points. Tremendous fight from the Dukes. Lewis serving. And a service error. Gonna knot it up at 25.
I guess it was a good challenge
yes.
then, right?
Ice the server. That was a rotation FGCU really needed to get out of. Hannah Boer now into serve and set. Soto gonna come back into this match for the Kieskiva. Over to Lewisau. Run down by Burry. Norman into the block. Kohler through the block, but no touch detected, and we're gonna have probably another challenge. Challenging a touch. Set point here for them, and you've got your best server for the Dukes, Julia McNeely, at the line. McNeely on the serve. Good first ball contact, and stuffed at the net. The block. Kennedy Lewisau teaming up with Addie Norman on the deny. It'll be Sydney Lewis getting things going for James Madison from the service line. Kohler. Over to Lewisau. Out of system for FGCU. And near miss there by Neal. Back row attack from Chabo. And a hammer laying it down is the freshman Addie Norman.
Yeah, great assist too by Lewis, putting a perfect ball up for her. Nice and high, a little slower pace so she can get her full approach in there and that double reach we talked about.
Buhizi on the swing from the middle. Lewis Lewisell with the answer. And Lewisell putting it down. She was up and ready. JMU right now looks locked in.
Yeah, being physical at the net. The opportunity to dig that ball as a right side as a setter is huge. She's able to give her team another chance and stay in that rally.
JMU off to a 2-0 start here in set number 3. We'll play at least 4 sets. Lewis serving. To the middle, Mugizi, and just like you drew it up.
Right, that 31 spot, setter did a nice job of delivering a hittable ball. Even though she had to drop her elbow a little bit, her arm is up, so she's still able to make really good contact on it.
So when you say 31, what do you mean to viewers at home?
It's a 1 tempo, so 1 is a quick, the fastest tempo. 3 is in the third spot on the court. So there's 6 positions on the court, 1 being right back, 2 right front, and 3 middle. And it's a little old school.
Just like to explain it to the casual fan. So I mean, I know what it is, but the casual volleyball viewer, it's always good to understand what the terminology means. It's a very technical sport.
It is, and you know, we just saw somebody that, you know, really added a lot on the serving line.
And Sydney Lewis,
you know, took the pressure off of Eagles right there with that missed serve.
Reese Burry now serving, and tough one. Near ace, and it is one.
Yeah, let's go back to what we know, right? Let's win that serve and pass game for the Eagles. And the Dukes just really need to take care of this first contact.
And that serve into the net on the error gives it right back to JMU. Norman out for the Dukes, as is Winrick. In is Rebecca Watkins. And Iltar. And another service error. Didn't make proper contact with the ball.
Yes. Really trying to go for that short serve, right?
Way too short though that time. Vikiskova back to serve for FGCU out of the Czech Republic. And rough first contact for JMU. They'll just have to free it over. And the Eagles capitalize. Tennis Catter coming through for FGCU.
Again, another 31 spot for her, putting the ball right where she needs it to go. And there's not a lot of heat on that ball, but a lot of empty spots right there for the Dukes.
One right at McNeely. Iltar down the line, and she has that shot to perfection.
Yeah, nice lefty move there. Great first contact, though. A 3-point pass by McNeely. Now the Dukes are able to deliver that point right away. That's what they're looking for. And maybe that's why the libero change was huge for them.
2 Mazzatos back into this match for JMU. Lewisell serving. Into the block. He scores in the block, coming up big again here to start the third.
Yeah, the out-of-system ball. The Eagles need to work hard on, try to do something different with that. And you've got Anna Wilson just ready and waiting to block it.
Tough serve. It's an ace for Kennedy Lewisell. 4th of this match for JMU after no service aces yesterday.
Yeah, 2 positive points in a row for the Dukes. Getting those short bursts, those short runs are really important.
Back-to-back service aces. It's a 4-0 scoring run for JMU, and that is going to lead to an FGCU timeout. The Dukes coming out with a vengeance here in the third. We'll be back with more of the third after this. Welcome back to Alika Arena. JMU off to a fast start here in the third with an 8-5 advantage. Back-to-back service aces by Kennedy Lewisell. The FGCU offense has gone a little bit stagnant here to start things off. Much better sequence that time.
Yeah, maybe they talked about that
Yes.
in the timeout, right? I think they need their tempo back.
Agreed.
Their pace of play is a little bit faster than the Dukes, and I think that's really how they've struggled.
Which is interesting because JMU is trying to play faster this year. It just hasn't materialized yet. Coach Steinbrecher saying, we'd like to be about a second to the pin, but with so many new faces, it just hasn't come together yet.
I don't think they're exactly ready for that.
No.
I think they do better when they're in control. But it's helped because they've been able to slow down the Eagles.
A little bit of discussion going on with the officials. JMU 1-point lead. Out of system. Free balled over by Tumazatos. And Tennis Ketter coming through from the middle.
Yeah, that ball was right on the net, and I'm sure the coach from the Dukes is telling her that, hey, you know, keep your eye on the ball. As a blocker, sometimes you get distracted. You watch the hitter's arm, maybe their angle of approach, but ultimately at the end, you need to watch the ball.
He scores off the block. JMU resets. Tumazatos off the fingertips. And that is going to score for FGCU as that ball landed back in bounds.
And that was a good fast tempo ball, but Tumazatos, you know, kept thinking, okay, maybe I'm going to get the tool. But when you're inside as a pin hitter and you try to tool and the ball is low, that's a recipe for disaster because a lot of times the ball will drop inside the court.
And a lucky bounce for FGCU off the top of the tape. Ruby shoots Chavo with the specialty serve.
Yes, it is. We'll call that the specialty serve. I used to call it something very inappropriate.
Yeah.
So
you can tell me off camera. Not necessarily how you draw it up, but it is difficult when it comes off the top of the tape because you're not quite sure the timing of it or the angle.
Right. And there was a time in volleyball where you could not touch the net at all on a serve. Hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. So many things have changed in the game. There's a block of FGCU.
Yeah, good read by Tennis Sketter, taking that first step over to the left side.
And a 5-0 scoring run now. Over to Iltar off the fingertips. Back to Escorza across court, and she's going to, should be a net violation.
Net violation on Tumazatos. Sometimes when that ball hangs in the air and you're right there, you get a little antsy. And you'll see her here a little early.
Yep, right there.
And she got those elbows on the net. Again, just body control, a lot of practice.
Denied. Dumped over. And great move there by Rebecca Watkins.
Yeah, that was a great transition play. Even if Anna Wilson got blocked on that first attempt, it was a good swing, way to convert, going back defense. Great heads-up play by the setter to give a dump.
Making the FGCU defense respect her. Gotta account for her. Wilson now serving. To the middle, Tennis Ketter. Kohler, cross court, back corner.
Yeah, inside set, Kohler passed up the block and just put her normal heat on the ball. She makes it look really easy.
We haven't called her name too much in the last set or so.
You know what? It's been probably a nice relief for her that they were able to spread the offense around a little bit up until this point.
Back to Tumazatos, cross court, and I'm going to say that it was touched or inbounds.
The official is the up official is pretty adamant on his calls
Yeah.
too, and that's one thing I would take note
Looks like
if
it
I
clipped
was
the
a
line.
coach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at a lot of things, but the value here is that there's a lot of coaches on the bench.
Cross court look that time. Reset JMU to Mizatos and just a complete miss. This time their jump it looked like.
Yeah, don't take your eyes off the ball. It's probably the number one rule in every sport, right? Always keep your eyes on the ball.
Anna Boer now into serve and set.
Well, she's had quite an illustrious career, going to a couple places before she hit home here with FGCU.
Not a bad place to finish out your career here in the sunshine.
Absolutely. It's gorgeous. Of course, we're a little biased.
We are biased. So really start enjoying it in October when the weather gets good. Soto cross court. Camila Soto coming through to extend the lead to 5.
Double-digit kills by Soto already.
And she made the move in the preseason to the right side out of necessity. Tipped over. Bazi Keto Allen was trying to find somebody she could plug in there on the right side at a plethora of outsides on the left.
Yeah, and the big thing is, I don't think offensively she struggles at all. Defensively, it's a different look. If you're used to playing on the left side and then all of a sudden you switch to the right side, you've got to really practice that block and that timing.
Kohler off the fingertips of the block. Louiselle tooling. Over to Norman. She's stuffed. Louiselle tips. FGCU resets. Camila Soto coming through again for her 11th kill of this match.
Great job by being aggressive for Soto, doing a good job getting all the way back and swinging hard no matter where that set takes her. I love that about her, and that's why she's so successful. 11 kills right now. Sometimes those pin hitters will bail out and tip more often, but sometimes you just need to challenge that block a little bit more.
Nice serve by Kohler and put down by Grabishi Chabo on the overpass.
Yeah, thank you, right? Thank you. Next. Got Kohler back there on the serving line, delivering a good ball, so her friend Chabo up there takes advantage.
A little bit of a softer serve that time. Neal running down. Great hustle by Reese Burry. Thrown down. Nice shot from Addie Norman, the freshman.
Yeah, she's got that, that tall body, those long legs, those long arms. Sometimes you see those players getting too tight to the net. She did a nice job creating that space so you can see the defense in front of you.
Just kind of hung in the air, trying to figure out where to place
that. You don't
that.
even need to jump that high.
Up serve. Free balled over. Jamie trying to capitalize to the middle, Anna Wilson. Muhizi on the miss. And like that, Jamie right back into this set.
Yep, and that's going to happen too. And you'll know why is because she's not transitioning that far off the net. It's a misconnection every time if you don't get back far enough as a middle.
And that's why they talk about with middles, you have to be working so hard in transition because you have to go and do your approach again.
I could always tell when I coached, when the players would come off the court, whose cheeks were bright red. I want to see who's working that hard. And a lot of times that effort, A, is either defensively as a back row player or front row if they're transitioning hard.
To the middle again, Wilson. Over to Grabishi Chabo for the winner. Back to a 5-point lead for FGCU.
Chavo keeps elevating her game, getting those kills.
Norman on the pushover. Back row attack. Kohler stuffed at the net. Anna Wilson with the solo stop.
Yeah, it's good vision too, knowing what's going on. And every rotation, they know what FGCU likes and maybe what their first option is or second option.
Anna Wilson's really stepped up today, getting a lot more playing time.
And there's something to be said too. You know, when you sub a lot, you lose a lot of the flow of the game, but you also lose what's going on the other side of the net.
4 blocks for Wilson. She's 3 kills. Lewisell laying the hammer. JMU not going away.
Yeah, Watkins delivers that ball, so Lewisell gets that seam, that split right here. Tennisketter is nowhere near where she needs to be, so Lewisell just makes her pay for that.
And a service ace for JMU. Back-to-back points, cuts it to 3.
Yeah, and here's this position maybe that they were in the last set, where they start putting a lot of pressure from the serving line.
It's really those short serves that have caused issues for FGCU.
They drop, and they're not necessarily short. They just do a nice job. When you go back and do a jump float, it's you're putting a lot of pace on it, but it's behind the ball, not on top of the ball. And when it's behind the ball, it just kind of drops off the table.
Soto tooling. Back to Soto tipping this time. Covered well. Lewisell off the fingertips, and that'll be a winner for JMU. Now down to a 2-point game, and Vazquez Allen calls the timeout.
Yeah, it's just either tool or add a tip in.
We're taking that first ball. Tennisketter with a little emphatic answer.
I love that too, and you'll notice too, Tennisketter does a much better job off of serve receive, getting that full approach in. When you have to transition, move side to side, and then get off the net, it's a little bit harder.
Back to a 3-point lead for FGCU, first to 20. Kiskova on the serve. Over to Iltar, cross court. Back row attack, Kohler. And denied again. Anna Wilson coming through with the roof. Wilson now 5 blocks. Back to a 2-point game here in the third. And a service there from Kennedy Lewisell. Rare one. Had back-to-back aces back in the second set.
Hey, she's doing her job back there. She's getting them back up to a point where they're competing.
Tumazatos off the top of the fingertips of the block. JMU hanging around.
Even on a play like that, where the set is hanging in the air a little bit longer, Tumazatos is up there quick, she's still putting some heat on the ball so she can get that tool when needed. If you slow down your arm too much, then it ends up being very flimsy and not getting the ball down. So really impressed with her adjustment.
Wilson on the serve. Back row attack. Neal from the middle. Escorza off the block. Katarina Escorza coming through with a lift for the Eagles.
Haven't talked about her in a while. Like that on the right side pin where they've scored a lot.
Tennisketter on the serve. Dumped over. And another great attack by Rebecca Watkins, catching the defense sleeping.
Yeah, really frustrating right now. The Dukes have scored a lot on that play right there in the donut in the hole. even when they know it's coming, just be able to defensively get your wrists under it and pop it up.
And it's been at crucial times in the match too. Near service ace, and it is one. Grace Winrich. James Madison has been lights out serving today.
Yeah, and they've got the fight back.
7 service aces. Back within 1. Timuhizi punching it through. FGCU 2 points away from taking the third. Double sub, Boer comes in, as well as Camila Soto. Thrown down by Norman. And a great ball from Barbara Kohler. Set point for the Eagles. And we will have a timeout from JMU coming. Point a set ago, and JMU came back. Big hit from Norman. JMU regrouping. Norman again, this time tipping. Soto down the line. Back row attack, Louiselle. And that will lead to a side out. JMU staying alive.
Yeah, with that Vic, there's a lot of court to hit into, especially with the heat that she's bringing.
Sydney Lewis now from the service line. She has given FGCU some issues back there. To Muhizi and stuffed at the net. Ian Neal coming through with a huge block.
That is, and here we go.
JMU hanging around, back within 1. This was a familiar story. And Soto, that'll do it for FGCU. 25-23 in a hard.
Just realize that, you know, it's going to help them in the long run if they serve and pass a lot better in the beginning.
And a nice start for JMU. Norman on that kill.
And they are containing Kohler right now, which is a huge factor for them.
Kohler hitting only .045 in this match so far. Took a swing there. Back to Norman. Shoves it cross court. Soto off the block. And going to be a net violation will lead to the Eagles' point.
Yeah, Norman, you know, came down on it. She uses her body a lot instead of just her arms. You got Wilson there too with her right hand.
Kohler on the serve. And will lead to the overpass. Muhizi on the throwdown.
She makes it look really
She
easy,
does,
doesn't
yeah.
Nice fast point opportunity, rewarding her server back there with that point.
And Kohler that time on the service error, a little bit long. All knotted at 2. Rebecca Watkins at the service line for JMU. Going at Marzella. Back row rolled over by Kohler. Free-balled over by JMU. Chavo off the mark, but they're going to say another net violation. That'll lead to the point.
Yeah, they're getting a little too antsy over there. They realize it's a fast tempo, but again, just having the body control to put on the brakes and go straight up and press.
Yeah, right there.
You know, Chavo took advantage of that. The Eagles really needed to capitalize because on those out-of-system balls, they haven't been able to put up the points. So that was a big get for them.
Reese Burry at the service line for FGCU. Pushed over by Louiselle. Soto off the top of the block. Saved by Watkins. Chavo rolling. Smart shot by Yulia Grabici-Chavo.
Yeah, she's mixing it up. Last time she hit line, that time she just did a nice little roll shot right over the block. Really hard for Louiselle to get to that ball, especially as an outside hitter. You got to work really hard. You got to play defense as an off-blocker defense and then get out and be ready to swing.
Iltar down the line. That is a shot that she loves.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. Burry is just too shallow, able to run that ball down, but it's with a lot of heat. And we haven't talked about too much about a 6-2 system, but what's happening too is that a lot of times defensively, you want to give the ball to the setter playing right back, so it forces them to not play that second ball. So that's why you see it when teams are playing in a 6-2, the dig count for those setters are going to be much higher.
That makes sense.
So they rely heavily on their liberos to give the second ball.
Great job there by Tennis Getter coming through for FGCU. Kiskova serving for the Eagles. Tumazatos, and that's a winner for the Dukes.
Yeah, good swing, nice low and flat, taking advantage of Escorza out there swinging. As a right side blocker, you want to make sure that you're turned inside the court, not waving to the fans outside.
Five, 4, back and forth here in the fourth set. FGCU could take the match by winning the fourth, and JMU could force a fifth if they win the fourth. Nice big approach from Chavo, but stuffed at the net. Great block by JMU.
Yeah, so a 3-point pass. The ball is delivered to the right side pin. Chavo, I think, wants it off the net a little further. She's more of a broad jumper.
Anna Wilson serving for JMU. And too long. McNeely will come into the match for the Dukes. As will Reese Burry. FGCU utilizing a 2 libero system. That's a new rule as of last year.
It is. And the club system is playing it too. Some high school associations are adopting it. It really gives two really good defensive players on your team a chance to play a little bit more. It keeps the game going because they're just running in and out. There's no substitution with that. One typically is a better defensive player. The other is a better passer.
It's interesting because Coach Bozzy-Keto Allen said that she initially didn't like the rule, and now she loves it.
Yeah, well, coaches don't like change right away. And then all of a sudden when they feel like it benefits them, they're like, oh, wait a second. I think I like that. But it just allows for
more flexibility.
It does. I still see some coaches don't want to use it. It's not like they stop training those players to pass better or dig better. It's just what you have in the moment.
It really becomes more of a chess match when you're, and also, substituting as well. Great block there by Ian Neal.
Yeah, she was able to take a step in to where Chavo was facing and just being patient. If you're blocking a back row attack, you have to wait.
Over to Kohler with the authority. Rolling it over is Chavo. Louiselle with an answer from the back row. Kohler through the seam of the block, but did not get a touch on the way down.
See, just in that instance alone, you saw James Madison deliver a nice roll shot right to the setter, Eliska, on FGCU, so it forced libero to take the second contact. So that's exactly what they wanted on an out-of-system play. for the Dukes.
Taking the setter out of it.
Take the setter out of it. And even though the liberos deliver a nice ball, they train for that, it still disrupts the flow. You're not able to set the middle attack. It gives the middle blocker on the other side a chance to get over and set up a really solid block.
Grace Winrick servicing for JMU. Kohler on the tip. Oh, great up. Down the line, but a little bit wide. Tie it up at 8 all.
Yeah, it's a good swing too. Sometimes when you go for that line shot, you over-rotate. I used to love listening to Karch Karai do the analyzing, especially for some high-level volleyball, or even talking to him about pin hitters. And sometimes he would rather see them go more cross-court than take those tough winners.
Yeah.
And I like to call them winners, kind of like in tennis.
What
They
was
tend
his
to
reasoning?
you tend to over-rotate too much, and you're hitting the ball out, so there's going to be a lot more errors in the game, and he's all about low air.
Kohler, cross court, back corner. Good adjustment by her that time.
No, it was a great adjustment. She got all the way around, uses good footwork, contacts the ball at a super high point, and goes for that deep high angle shot.
On the overpass, FGCU was up and ready. Back-to-back points for the Eagles. All started with the serve, though.
Oh, it does, and you got to give credit to that server. You got McNeely over there working hard. She's taken a huge portion of that court, too.
I mean, that was a great, just to be even able to dig that was a great
It
job
is.
by her, even though it ended up in an overpass.
And right now, it looks like they have a two-person server seat, basically.
In-time block, Kohler and Muhizi teaming up on the roof.
Yeah, Kohler's doing a nice job identifying what's going on the other side of the court. Muhizi, she's new, and so I think Kohler.
We're set. Abby Tennisketter at the service line. Chumazano's able to get a touch. Looked like it was going to be out.
It did. It was sailing. It was flat. No topspin on that ball, but that's exactly what you need from those pin hitters to go after those hands. Put a little heat and just take that risk.
Sydney Lewis now back into this match for JMU. This has been a rotation that's given FGU some struggles. Kohler, and no doubt about that one. No struggle there.
Yeah, I like that second tempo ball. You see Kohler as a pin hitter. She comes inside and runs almost like a two ball and passes up the block. So you'll see Addie Norman there not involved at all in that play because of the crossover. So that's part of the, identifying what's going on the other side of the net and making adjustments.
Hannah Bohr with the service ace, splitting the seam. All of a sudden, it's a 4-point advantage.
Yeah, and that's exactly where you want to put the ball when you're serving. Right in those seams, deep seams.
McNeely taking the second ball, rolled over by Louiselle. Back to Louiselle, cross court, and just misses the mark.
I know they wanted to touch on that ball, but it was a good high swing. You got Burry up there working really hard, coming inside to base and then going out.
Just out.
Just a bit outside.
Norman, cross court. Soto off the net. Back over to Louiselle. That time, she does find the range.
Yeah, it's a great spot too, but a lot of times Eagles will do a rotational defense with their setter and right back. The setter comes up behind the block, and it's really up to those two back defenders to get the whole court. So if you're able to get a nice high shot middle back, it's going to score every time.
When you've talked all day about how shallow the Eagles defenders in the back row have generally been playing.
And it's not a bad thing. I'm just pointing out the obvious, I guess, and because a lot of times hitters will see a hole at the net and try to pound it and put it straight down. The ball that's hard to get are the ones behind you.
Julia McNeely at the service line for JMU. Tipped over. Soto on the stop block with Mahusey. Excuse me.
I gotcha.
Pick me up here. Mahusey, the freshman.
I love it. No, it's physically taxing, but that's why you have a bench.
Louisville brought back to her side of the net. Nice job on the block there by FGCU. Hard hit ball. Woo. Talk about some sweat on that floor.
Yeah, she left a mark. Poor girl. She's got to go down and get it herself.
Can somebody else do this? She's the setter. She needs those hands.
Actually, I'd probably be doing it too because I probably need a breath. It was a tactic in the day. You got to wipe the floor.
Grace Winrick, she's doing everything. She's the team captain. She's the starting setter. She does it all. Kohler on the serve. And with some emphasis, Annie Norman, the freshman.
Now that was a beautiful swing. That was textbook right there. That's going to go down in our highlight reel. Great ball, perfect delivery, some space to work with.
A giant hole in that block.
And you can tell too, because she's getting her full swing in. A lot of times hitters will just hit high and do a high snap. She got her arm all the way through.
That was a great serve by Rebecca Watkins on the service ace. That ball just died.
Yeah, a couple positive points in a row.
A little bit of a wake-up call here for FGCU.
And this is kind of where we're at that, that time period in the set where JMU kind of wakes up. Maybe they get a little sugar high and they're able to come back and add a few points onto the board.
Watkins trying to keep the run going. Soto. Put right back down by Soto. Iltar down the line. Back-to-back points for JMU.
Yeah, I like Iltar hitting those high balls. And she came from Indiana, so she was used to going up against a big block and competing every day against a big block. So that's really helped her.
And just a misfire there. Got a little bit too much on top of that ball. Grabishi's Chabo.
Yeah, just identifying, keeping your eye on the ball, making sure the ball is in front of her. Chabo likes to kind of come in fast and hit behind her head.
Back to a 2-point game. Soto off the fingertips. Nice up. Muhizi missed hit, but still got it over. And a great double block. Muhizi and Soto teaming up.
Didn't know Muhizi was a ambidextrous hitter there, but McNeely really laying out defensively, doing everything she can for her team. Muhizi with a barely a jump, but just get it over.
And she moved laterally in time to do the blocking.
She did.
She's learning on the fly as a freshman.
And that's awesome. That's what you need.
And you can see she's getting instruction on the sideline from the assistant coaches. Got a lot of potential. Still playing. Iltar cross court coming at us. Great save. Iltar off the block and nobody there to cover it.
The hardest part about playing defense is making sure you're stopped at point of contact. And when you have multiple balls that you're going for, like Reese Burry there, she's all over the place. Chabo, she's all over the place. if you're still moving your feet and dancing, you're never going to get to that touch off the block or the tip.
Back to a 2-point game here in the fourth. Louiselle from the service line. And tough first ball contact. Great job by Tumazatos, just tipping into the block.
Yeah, identifying that Soto was off the net and just went for it. That's a smart play.
Over to Soto. And off the mark. We're going to even things up here.
Yeah, exactly what the Dukes ordered up too, right? Soto's struggling right now in our last couple plays.
Soto rolls it over that time. Tough ball at the net. Too tight.
Just a slight misconnection by Watkins. And again, Watkins is, fairly new to this lineup as well, and just being able to connect with somebody like Anna Wilson, who's new as well.
Rakiskova into serve and set for FGCU, as is Katarina Iskorza. Iltar with some punch.
And they're going to keep giving her the ball as long as they're in system and they're able to deliver. Going against the grain mare, she just winds up and takes advantage of that block that's not fully set.
And no block touch at all on that. Anna Wilson serving now. Service error gives it right back to the Eagles. Been back and forth here the last several points. Derbyshire Chabo now at the service line. And a great job by Tumazatos laying down the winner there.
Yeah, fast tempo out there. Didn't give the Eagles time to really set up. The front row dictates what the back row is going to do. So if the front row does their job in getting there as fast as they can, then the back court is able to set up a little bit faster, meaning stop their feet and be able to change direction.
More cleanup duty going on the court. Grace Winrick waiting to serve. All knotted up at 19. Kohler with some authority there.
Yeah, Ian jumped with tennis getters, so it opened up the door for Kohler to have that one-on-one opportunity. If you're a middle and you're not involved as much, as long as you're taking your transition and your approach, you're doing something.
Tennis getters serving. Neal, to perfection from the middle.
Yeah, Neal took advantage of that ball. Wherever it was set to her, that's what she took.
Right on the money. City Louis now into serve for JMU. Kohler laying the hammer down for the Eagles.
Yeah, getting her up in that middle of the court, that section of the court where she has a lot of space to hit into, because she can rip it cross court, that power alley, but she can also turn it and hit cross body, that line shot. Love that 2-ball.
Neither team can get much separation on the other right now. It's been point for point. Tough serve out of system for JMU. Louiselle off the fingertips of the block. Back row attack, tipped over by Derbyshire Chabo.
There's a good heads-up play by Chabo, too, identifying that set was a little short for her. Not enough kick in the end, so she just took it down and tipped it right into the block.
Louiselle covered well in the back row by Chabo. Kohler rolls it over. Louiselle again, this time the roll shot to find the donut.
And she's done that multiple times too. Perfect timing too. Gets it behind that off blocker defender, right into that hole.
McNeely serving for JMU. Kohler off the block. Great save by McNeely. Norman packing the punch right now for JMU. Unblocked. Ties it at 22. Leading the serve. Kohler cross court. And a big time side out for FGCU.
Yeah, great point coming out of the timeout. Great pass. They were able to deliver a ball along the net.
And a nice shot there from Norman, again coming through big for JMU.
Yeah, I'd find her too. I mean, she's taking those big swings, giving her a little kick, so she's able to find those deep edges.
Tied at 23. Norman subs out of this game. Rebecca Watkins back in. Soto dug out. Louiselle finding the back corner. And JMU grabs a 1-point lead. It's set point for the Dukes.
Blocker.
Watkins serving, short serve. Great shot by Chabo. Louiselle rolls it over. Tight to the net, block is there. On the big, Barbara Kohler coming through in the clutch.
That was a huge point by Kohler. Again, just playing great defense, waiting for that moment to shine. And, you know, the Dukes did a nice job. They served short, tried to disrupt Soto there.
Burry now serving off the top of the tape for FGCU. Louiselle down the line, and they'll bring up set point once again for JMU. Louiselle tries to close this set out for the Dukes. Chabo off the fingertips. Oh, what a save by Louiselle. Tried to dump it over. And Iltar off the block. That will do it for JMU as they take set number 4, and we are headed to the third kills, but you've got 4 players overall approaching double figures. And miscommunication, though, to open things for the Dukes.
Yeah, maybe that was over the left side shoulder of Neal.
Four serving for FGCU. Out of system ball. Louiselle perfectly placed between the seam and the back row defenders.
Yeah, she definitely needs that runway to kind of, you know, get the speed that she wants. Big spike approach.
Now remember, in the 5th set, it's the 1st to 15. Got to win by 2. Muhizi from the middle. We haven't called her name in a while. The freshman Erica Muhizi coming through.
Yeah, it was a pretty good pass too. The setter was pushed more towards the left side of the court, but Muhizi gets up with no block in front of her.
Grubicic Chabo now serving for the Eagles. Tough serve. Near ace. Going to be free balled over. Soto through the block.
Yeah, back on track. Boris doing a nice job of giving better balls to her hitters. Space with a little kick in the end so they can get a high, clean attack.
Offense certainly spread much more around right now. And it's a service ace for Grubicic Chabo. out of Slovenia.
The stats on these two teams are very similar, and they all fuel off the serving line.
7 service aces now for FGCU. That's going to prompt another tough serve. Louiselle, you called it, going right to her.
It's just comfort. And if they can get the ball up in front of the 10-foot line, they're going to find her because she can run that fast tempo. The middles just aren't as experienced right now on both sides of the net to get out to that pin
in time. She is certainly a gamer, Kennedy Louiselle, the transfer from High Point. Back row attack, just pushed over that time by Chavo.
Yeah, again, going towards that right side, that deep defender, that setter, taking her out of the equation.
Reese-Bury, line-to-line serve. Iltar, cross court, but off the mark, just a little bit wide. It's a 4-point lead for FGCU. Bury again serving. To the middle, Wilson denied. And it's a stop block for Tennisketter and Kohler teaming up.
Yeah, they'll both get the stat line for that, even though maybe it was a little bit more Kohler. Just in time, though, to put that nice lead.
Seven to 2 FGCU. Bury from the service. Louiselle dug out. Nice dig by Bury. Rolled over, but on the block there for the denial. It's Iltar teaming up with Anna Wilson.
Yeah, good patience by those two, identifying that she was off the net, kind of out of play behind the antenna. Working together to get that solid block.
Louiselle serving now. Over a pass, and you could see that right away.
And here we go. Right from the serving line generates a lot of momentum for your team. Not only a fast point opportunity, but strategies.
7-4 JMU back within 3. And right at Marzella, another overpass. This time, diving in is Marzella to save it. Iltar with some punch.
Yeah, the defensive transition is really good for the Dukes right now. If they're feeling confident up at the net, they're able to get those digs and able to convert.
FGCU just does not have an answer for Melissa Iltar right now. Tennisketter on the 31.
Yeah, good response to a 3-point pass, so you get Tennisketter back into this match.
They will taking down JMU last night in 4 sets. Lost to Missouri to start the season yesterday. Iltar, that time the double block was ready. Kohler and Tennisketter. 4-point lead now for the Eagles.
That is a fast put down too. Great job, great identifying what's going on and just able to get that ball down fast.
3-balled over. Can the Eagles capitalize? Kohler through the block. 5-point lead now for the Eagles.
Yeah, nice high swing too and bringing the heat. That's the ball that she likes. Always challenging the block.
Timeout JMU.
People like Soto take out people like Kohler.
Tumazano's cross court. Run down Bury, nice hustle. 3-balled, but it's not going to clear the net. Good response from JMU.
It is, right out of the timeout. And this is where they want to be, right here on the serving line, with Lewis going back there with a strong block, with Ilter up there.
Well, we're seeing Shelby Davis now at the service line for the first time today. Kohler cross court. Tumazatos down the line. Back to Kohler. Off the fingertips of the block. Pushed over down the line. Rolled over, and what a shot by Katarina Escorza.
There she goes again on the left side pin, finding a way, listening to her teammates. What's open? And sure enough, out of system play, keeps the ball in front of her, and just that ever so soft roll shot. The offside blocker does not have her feet stopped, so she's not able to make a play on that ball.
5-point lead for the Eagles. Kohler from the service line. Iltar still playing, but not so fast. Tumazatos putting it down.
I think the message is be aggressive. And that's all you can hope for right now out of the Dukes, is just keep building their way back. She's up at the net. She's ready for it. Don't give them the chance to get a second touch on that.
Going at Tennis Ketter. Big swing from her out of the middle. Off the block. Tipped over. Block ready. Norman and Neal teaming up on the stuff.
Again, just being patient. It wasn't the set that the Eagles wanted on their side, so they knew something off speed or a tip was coming.
Winwick serving again at Tennis Ketter. Rolled over. Tumazatos in. And that's going to be out of play. And like that, JMU back within two. FGC serves. JMU back within two. On a 3-0 scoring run. Back row attack. A little miscommunication there, and works out though for JMU as nobody took that ball.
Yeah, I'm real surprised by Marzella there as the libero not taking that first ball contact. That's one of the things in the textbook as a libero, is you got to make sure that you are taking as many balls as possible.
It's a 1-point game. He scores across court with some authority.
Yeah, and she's got her arm up, ready to go, ready to attack. That's a great thing about her, is that if the set is even too low or maybe flat, she's still able to get a swing on it. That's a fun ball to hit. Going against the grain, too, by Eliska. I think they have a really nice connection.
Tennis Ketter now at the service line for FGCU. Eagles up 2. Right at Louiselle. Back to Norman. He scores off the block.
Yeah, she took something off of that. She saw those big arms in front of her and just went for it. No fear.
No, just like we saw set number 3, her close out set 3, going to her late. FGCU 2 points away from taking this match. Off the top of the tape, tough serve. Tumazatos denied. He scores up, and Mukhizi teaming up for the roof. Match point. And that leads to a timeout from JMU. Gotta love the reaction, though. Tight to the net. Back row attack. Who else? Kennedy Louiselle. Big players make big plays and big moments.
That's right, and it's just pretty to watch. Very smooth. She's a fun player to watch.
Sydney Lewis serving. He scores across court. And that'll do it. FGCU gutting out a 5-set win against a very feisty JMU squad. 15-11 in the 5th set. And coming up.